Hi guys. I realize I look pretty funny because the house is cold. So I'm chilling out in my dressing gown and a bunch of clothes. But I have some content today that will hopefully be helpful to you that use Unreal Engine 5 and specifically MetaHumans. And so I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the video of me since I'm not the subject here. Alright, so now we're looking in a fresh Unreal Engine 5 project, and I just started with the third person template because we are going to be messing with the third person character. Hopefully going over some things that will be helpful to you. So in this empty project, I've gone to Quixel Bridge. I'll just show you in there quickly. If you've used MetaHumans before, you probably know how to do this. So you can go to the MetaHumans, you can go to the MetaHumans tab, and you can download MetaHumans. Great, right? So after you have messed around with this a bit, you've probably made some of your own, and you've probably got some MetaHumans in the My MetaHumans folder. If that's where you're at, great. You need to get one of these and export it to your project. Once you have it exported, it will be saved locally, so you can click on the local folder from now on. Click on your MetaHumans, and here's the ones that I've got at the minute. So go ahead and click one of these MetaHumans, and if it's already downloaded, just add it to your project. Now this one's already added to my project, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to just close that down and show you the project folder. So here in the MetaHumans, I have that MetaHuman character, and if I just drag her in, you can see her shaders have previously compiled, so I am a little bit ahead of where you might be. So if your shaders aren't there initially, just leave it for a few minutes. It will load, the shaders will compile, and you'll see your amazingly flashy MetaHuman. Okay, so if you take the blueprint here, so go to your MetaHumans folder, whichever MetaHuman you have here, take your MetaHuman blueprint and duplicate that puppy. Okay. Take your duplicate, and we're going to name it something clever like, name it Annette tutorial. Sorry for the alarm on my phone there. Now, if you've gotten this far, you're ready to see how to play in the game with your MetaHuman. And I'm going to show you the best things I know how to do with this. Okay, so first thing I recommend is go to your LOD sync. Later, you can create your custom LODs, all of that stuff, anything that you are most happy about. But for now, we're going to lock it to the first LOD, and the reason for that is because if you're not locked to the first LOD and you have any of the experimental grooms or anything like that, when you zoom out, it'll disappear in here, and when you zoom out in the engine, it will disappear as well. So whether you're playing or just editing. Okay, so she's locked on LOD 1 now, so she's not going to disappear, and no part of her groom or anything else will disappear either. This will save you troubles later if you have previously used that, believe me. Okay, here's the trick. Okay, go to class settings. Currently she is an actor, so that means she is just something you can place in the level and you can't do anything with. So we want to change her from an actor to the third. And this is why we started with the third person template, because if you start with that, then you have the third person character blueprint. So we're going to change her to a third person character blueprint, which means she's just inheriting from that pawn blueprint. As you can see, it doesn't change her at all at the moment. Now part of the reason for that is that she has a static root that does nothing on its own. So what you'll first do is click on her body, because you might see that all of her components are nested inside of this body component. So you click on that and drag it and make the mesh of the third person character her new root. She'll snap down and she'll be in the same position and rotation as that character. Go ahead and delete the root, you're not going to need that. Now, in order to get this any farther, you're going to notice that she's not animated and she's not matching that pawn whatsoever. So compile it and she'll disappear. Now this is where some people might have gotten stuck with this method. It is just something to think about, but it's not hard to fix. So you click on the target, because this is the error. It's saying the blueprint is not a scene component. So target must have a connection. So you click on target. So this thing needs a connection. What connection does it need? It needs the new MetaHuman body that you just dragged in. So pop that over there and connect it. You don't need to know anything else about blueprints at this stage. So just compile it. And you'll see there's a nice green check mark and everything should be working. Well, yeah, she's visible. She's not animating still. There are a few ways to go about this. If you're just in it to get quick results, you can retarget her. This is kind of a quick and dirty hack and slash method, but you can definitely do it. You'll notice that the animations don't always come out exactly right, like her arms are kind of bent. She doesn't look that convincing as a pawn. But for now, I'll show you the rest of what you need to know to do this method. So click on this mesh, because obviously we don't need that. Type in visible, as in this is visible. There's a nice check. So turn that off. It's not visible now. Now you might think, just like I did when I first tried this, that you could go and play and she would totally copy that character. But the problem is that there is a tick method on this this pawn, and it only ticks when it's visible. So you'll see this, it says visibility based anim tick option, always tick pose. No, you'd think that would be always, but it's not. Because it's visibility based, if you turn the visibility off, then it will stop ticking. So we need to change it. You can change it to always tick pose and refresh bones, and that will fix that error. So now you can compile it and save and go into the editor and play. No, she's not set as the pawn. So that's the other issue I should have thought about. So you go over here, and what you need now is the new blueprint that you just set up. It should show up in there. One way you can do it is by going here and actually selecting that, and then coming over here and clicking this. That will do it the same way. So either way you prefer. There are some other ways. Now you can see that she's playable. Very straightforward, very easy to do. It's quick and dirty though, guys. So look, her animations, I mean, they look natural-ish. They look realistic, but not exactly accurate to the original animations. And when she runs, have you ever seen a real person run with her arms like that? It's just a little wonky. So let's move on to the next step. It's a little bit more in depth and a little bit more difficult. So if you don't want to go any farther than that, that's fine. However, if you need this animation retargeting to be exact, then you need to move on to this next step. Okay. Okay, so what we have now is she's using the live retarget mode, and we don't want that. So what I recommend doing immediately is just turning that off. It's giving me some issues here. This is my problem. Okay, so you fold this out, go down here, not advanced, sorry. Just untick, use the live retarget mode. If you untick it, she'll be still. Yes, she will be, but don't panic, okay? Just compile it for now. And then all you need to do, and what you'd like to do, is you find the skeleton for your pawn. So third person, blueprints, there it is. Now right click it and go to, I guess we can't do it this way. Well, I'm sure we can. I'm always learning too, guys, so if I make a mistake, I apologize. So go to her skeletal mesh, open that up, right click it. I already know which skeleton it is, but we'll do it this way. So you find the skeleton, and I'm gonna go ahead and dock this because that's gonna irritate me. Yeah, we'll dock him here for now. So you find the skeleton, and that's the skeleton, okay? Just as a spoiler, but find the skeleton, there it is. So this is the skeleton we want to retarget her to. So bearing that in mind, let's go back to the MetaHumans. Let's go back to her. Now we need to go in piece by piece and do that. So first thing that has a skeletal mesh, as far as I know, is in here as her body. So open that up with the little folder icon. There it is. We're going to right click it and change the skeleton, assign skeleton, and it was called SK Mannequin. So accept it. Okay. And it will actually retarget all of the animations and all of that. And all you need to do is the same process on all of the rest of the parts of her that have skeletal meshes. So go to the torso. Oh, there's something there that has a skeleton. We're gonna retarget that as well. I mean, reassign that to the SK Mannequin. If you use the one under that, it's incorrect. It's for UE4. Just bear that in mind. So keep going through, find all of the pieces attached to her that have skeletal meshes, or that have a skeleton, that are skeletal meshes, I should say, and reassign them to the correct skeleton. Now I've purposely added a shirt and pants because that way everything has this skeleton, which I can, show you and reiterate, because I don't know about you guys, but hearing something over and over and seeing it over and over really helps me. Maybe I'm just forgetful. Let's see. Okay, so that's all we need to do, I'm pretty certain. Go ahead and compile it now. The last thing that we need to do is to update. In fact, if you go to the mesh, this is the one. This is okay. I'll just go to visible and I'll show you. This is still the mesh for the third person pawn. Okay, and what's the difference between this and the third person pawn? You might say not much. And you would be right. You'd be exactly right. There's almost no difference here. So why is one animating and one not? Here's the answer. You probably already know it. The anim class. Okay. ABP Quin C. Now, I was going crazy at first trying to find this. This class doesn't actually exist by name to search in the project folder. It exists as ABP Quinn. So, you might have guessed it, you just need to change the anim class to ABP Quinn on all of these things. Ta-da! Now, that's part of what's going on. You'll notice her legs aren't quite the same, and so on. And that's because, as you already know, I'm sure, we need to do this on all the different bits that need to be animated. And again, guys, if I've made some mistakes and they're glaring and you can see them and notice them, I apologize, and I hope you'll have patience with me. I'm just going to focus on her and just look around her. So there are some problems that you can see her arms poking through the shirt mesh, and that's why the MetaHuman skeleton is built the way it is, and it's different than the mannequin skeleton. Obviously very different. So there are a few things we can do about this. I'm not going to worry about them for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and compile here and save this blueprint. We're going to test it out just to make sure the animations are going okay. And the feet are gliding. You've probably run into this issue. I know a lot of people have. To fix the foot sliding error, we need to open up our content folder here, and we need to go to the mannequins, and then we need to go to the meshes, and this is our SKM Quinn symbol, and our SKM Quinn, and their base skeletal meshes here. Well, let's go ahead and open the SKM Quinn, since we're dealing with a female MetaHuman. You look at the skeleton tree, and it may look fine. It is, really. But the issue is that our third-person character pawn is looking for specific IK targets for the feet, and it's not recognizing these actual bones as IK targets. The fix that we can use for these is to add virtual bones. We're going to add one to the root, and we're going to call it the IK foot root. Okay. Should stick with convention here. You can see the naming convention is pretty consistent through here. Nothing is capitalized, and they use the underscore in place of spaces. So I recommend sticking with that, just for the sake of your mentality. If you're at all like me, you'll look at this and see differences in the bottom. So to add to these, you can add the foot L and the foot R. Okay, add the foot R, and then add the virtual bone foot L. It's important that you search them this way. Okay, sweetheart, you can have some drink. That's my 2-year-old. There you go, sweetheart. So now you've got these long names, the VBIK foot root foot R and the VBIK foot root foot L. Quite a mouthful. But let's take the VB, let's just go ahead and leave it as is, because it'll be very easy to find when we're updating our skeleton. So fold this down. Actually, before you fold that down, it's always a good idea to save. More than you think you need to. We'll go ahead and open this back up, and we'll go to our SK mannequin. Oh no, that's not what it is. Sorry. We're gonna go to rigs. So go to characters, mannequins, rigs. Inside here you'll find the CR mannequin basic foot IK rig, and this is where the issue is, or where it can be fixed, I should say. So first off, you'll notice that that is not the SKM Quinn in the viewport. So these are all going to be a little bit different from what you want them to be. So we'll go ahead and update that. We'll just refresh, and we'll refresh the SKM Quinn. Take a minute. There she is. Okay, and you'll notice that it has a lot of references for the IK foot bones, but they're going to be incorrect because they're still referencing those regular bones that it still has a problem with. So let's go to the virtual bones. The virtual bone, IK foot root foot L, and virtual bone, IK foot root foot R. And just go through and replace those two. Sorry, it's not, my mouse is dying on me, so I've used it for too long for its liking. So we replace these two as well. VB IK foot root foot R, and we go up to the very top. There's two more references. This one, VB foot root foot L, and VB foot root foot R. Now I learned this all from a different tutorial. You have probably found this tutorial, and I do not claim any of this as my own knowledge or my own invention. Not at all. I only hope that it will help you to figure out this process faster than I did. So it looks like it's compiling properly, and the character looks correct. So we'll go and test it in the editor. Huzzah! Success. Now, there's still the issue of the arms poking through the shirt.